Have you ever glanced at your smartwatch, seen your heart rate, and thought, my heart's beating normally, so everything must be fine? It's a fair assumption. Heart rate is one of the oldest vital signs. Doctors use it, athletes watch it, fitness trackers show it constantly. It feels familiar and easy to understand. But what if the most important signal isn't how fast your heart beats, but how flexible it beats? What if the real story isn't in the number itself, but in the tiny differences between each heartbeat? Today, we're talking about one of the most misunderstood metrics in health and performance: heart rate variability. HRV. Lots of people track it, few truly understand it, and almost everyone gets it wrong. By the end of this episode, you might never look at your heart the same way again. Heart rate measures beats per minute. 60 beats in a minute means a heart rate of 60. Simple. Many people know their resting heart rate. Maybe 60, 70, 80, lower if they're very fit, higher if stressed or ill. Heart rate gives a snapshot, a quick look at what the cardiovascular system is doing right now, but snapshots are limited. Life isn't a snapshot, gal, it's a movie. That's where HRV comes in. Here's something that surprises almost everyone. A healthy heart doesn't beat like a metronome. If your heart kept perfectly equal intervals between beats, that might not be a good sign. A healthy heart is dynamic, adaptive, and responsive. The time between beats shifts constantly, milliseconds longer, milliseconds shorter. Those tiny fluctuations are HRV. Picture two drummers. The first plays with robotic precision, every beat identical. The second adjusts constantly, responding to the music in the room. Which sounds more alive? The second. Our hearts behave the same way. Health often shows up as adaptability, not rigidity. That's a big misconception. People hear variability and assume it's bad. In many biological systems, variability signals resilience, the ability to adapt, to shift smoothly between demands. HRV measures that resilience. To understand HRV, we need the autonomic nervous system, the system that runs things automatically: breathing, digestion, heart rate, blood pressure, recovery, and stress responses. It has two main branches: the sympathetic, fight or flight, and the parasympathetic, rest and digest. The sympathetic readies you for action, deadlines, exercise, threats. The parasympathetic helps you recover, sleep, digestion, healing. Both are essential. The goal isn't to eliminate stress, but to remain flexible, able to move between activation and recovery. HRV appears to reflect that flexibility. Think of HRV as a conversation between your brain and your heart, happening every second. When the nervous system is resilient, that conversation stays dynamic and HRV tends to be higher. When stress builds, recovery suffers, or illness appears, the conversation can become rigid and HRV often drops. Not always, but often, which is why researchers are so interested. Here's another common mistake: comparing your HRV to someone else's. That's pointless. HRV is highly individual. Two healthy people can have very different values. One might average 25 mils, another 80 mils, another 120 m's, and all can be fine. The absolute number matters far less than the trend. Would you rather know today's bank balance or whether your finances have improved over 6 months? Trends tell the story. Biology speaks in patterns, not isolated moments. Wearable tech has changed this. In the past, we only measured physiology occasionally in clinics during tests. Now, millions of people can see continuous trends: sleep, recovery, stress, readiness, and HRV. For the first time, we can watch the body's story unfold in real time. Many factors influence HRV: sleep quality, stress, exercise, recovery, travel and jet lag, alcohol, illness, inflammation, nutrition, hydration, psychological and emotional stress, even relationship stress. The body integrates all this information, and HRV often reflects the cumulative load, not just one event. That's why HRV can feel like a lie detector. You might say, "I'm fine," while your nervous system disagrees. When sleep declines and stress rises, HRV drops. The body often knows before conscious awareness catches up, which makes HRV valuable. It doesn't predict everything, but it can reveal what your body is already experiencing. Compare heart rate and HRV directly. Heart rate answers, how fast? HRV answers, how adaptable? Heart rate tells speed. HRV hints at why something is happening. Both matter, but they measure different things. It's like driving. Heart rate is speed, HRV is engine responsiveness. Together, they tell a richer story. That's why modern health tracking looks at multiple signals, not one metric, because the body is a system, not a single number. Athletes have used HRV for years to guide training, not because HRV determines performance, but because it helps assess recovery. A falling HRV trend might suggest you need more rest. A stable trend might mean you're adapting. Again, not a diagnosis, just useful information. This is where health intelligence matters. Data alone doesn't change behavior, but interpretation does. Knowing your HRV is 35 means little by itself. Understanding why it declined over a week changes everything. The future of health isn't more data, it's clearer meaning. At OXYZEN, we see wearables not as score machines, but as biological translators. They help people understand the invisible signals their bodies send: how stress affects recovery, how sleep affects readiness, how behavior affects physiology. Awareness creates opportunity. Opportunity leads to better choices. So remember this. Stop comparing HRV. Start understanding it. Your HRV isn't a competition, a leaderboard, or a ranking. It's a conversation between your brain, nervous system, heart, and recovery capacity. The goal isn't matching someone else's number. It's learning your own biology. After all, the most important trend in health isn't what happens to other people. It's what happens to you. I'm Dr. Yende. Thanks for joining me on another episode of OXYZEN Health Intelligence. Your body is always communicating. Sometimes the most important messages arrive in milliseconds. I'll see you in the next episode.